implications, as well as the fact that the processing plant will be operating way below capacity. So these are considerations which means that the government has to think very carefully about the source of the fuel and the raw material for the plant, as well as the financial implications down the line.
He also indicated how important it was for the project to be completed.
Very quick reasons. One is that you do need gas for your thermal plants because we can't rely alone on hydro. Now, half of the energy produced in this country comes from thermal. And the cheapest fuel for thermal is gas. So if you want the doom so to stop, then you need a lot more gas so that the thermal plants can run at a cost that we can afford. Number two, the gas can go into other industries like fertilizer, etc., which will create employment, etc. Number three is that it's a very important strategic national resource now. And it's important that Ghanaians pay a lot of attention to the developments that are happening with that project.
Do you foresee that?
Bright Simmons is with Imani Ghana. And now on Friday, we brought you a revealing story about the situation in the chalk factory at the Accra Rehabilitation Centre. Today, my colleague Gifty Ando-Apia is there live to bring us up to date on the situation. Hello, Gifty.
Right here with me at the Ghana Society of the Physically Disabled Chalk Factory. This chalk factory, I'm told, has not been working for the past 4 months, and I have a document here with me that reads notification of award for the supply of white chalk for basic schools. Now, this document is from the Ghana Education Service, and this is to confirm that the Ghana Education Service is aware of chalk production by the disabled men who work here. And they are telling, Eric Curtis Howard has been following the development on this story. And what the GES tells Curtis is that they are not aware that the disabled people who work here have been able to produce 25,000 boxes of chalk. Indeed, the notification they have here was to... I beg your pardon. The notification they have here was to produce 50,000 boxes of chalks, but they have been able to provide 25,000. The production manager, Elvis Alupui, is with me. We'd like to find out from him, in the absence of their inability to embark on any production and the Ghana Education Service not paying them anything. Indeed, the chalks have all piled up in their warehouse. We'll find out from him how they have been doing as disabled people. Thank you very much, Mr. Elvis Alupui. So tell us,
that was my colleague Gifty Ando-Apia, who was bringing you a live report from the Accra Rehabilitation Centre. There's a chalk factory there that has been beset with problems for quite a while now. I believe she said 4 months. We will take you back to Gifty when we have clear transmission. But we're moving on to other stories now. When we come back, we have more. Welcome back. Now let's start off with some good news. President John Dramani Mahama has announced that there will not be off-peak load shedding in the country, while the entire load shedding would end by the end of April. He explained that the load shedding would now be only during the day and promised that he would visit the Aboise and other thermal plants to ensure that Ghana regained the electricity she enjoyed over the years.
From today, there will be no off-peak load shedding. Mark my words. Let me explain. There will be no off-peak load shedding. Off-peak means when it is not the peak of use of electricity. That's often during the daytime. And at peak hours, load shedding will be limited to 80 megawatts only. If you remember, I told you we started the load shedding or load management program with a deficit of more than 250 megawatts. We have been working round the clock to narrow this gap in terms of our power generation. And I'm happy to say that we have narrowed it currently to a load shedding of 80 megawatts. And I'm certain that by the end of this month, we would have overcome this challenge, and Ghana will never see this kind of darkness again, by God's grace.
In fulfillment of his promise, President Mahama is currently at the Abuaze thermal plant. Now, staying with the presidency has denied reports in sections of the media that sought to suggest that President Mahama had shares or interests in Agam's group, the owners of RLG. The story insinuated that the president, in his personal capacity, owns shares in the Agam's group or in some type of business partnership with the group. However, a statement signed by the Executive Secretary to the President, Raymond Atuguba, stated that President John Dramani Mahama has no personal or business interest in the Agam's group of companies. It added that the Chief of Staff has already directed the Minister at the Presidency in charge of development authorities to, in consultation with the SADA board, present a report on the projects that were the subject matter of the said publication. It is expected that this report will reach the Chief of Staff within 2 weeks. The statement further added that the Office of the President hopes that, in line with Article 162, Section 6 of the 1992 Constitution, the Daily Guide newspaper will give this particular statement the same prominence as its publication of Thursday, April 4, 2013. Now, the Parliament of Ghana has reacted to the ongoing saga regarding some 46 million Ghana cedis purportedly paid to members of the 5th Parliament as ex gratia. A statement by the Director of Public Affairs of Parliament categorically stated that though members of Parliament received some payments effected in accordance with the requirements of Article 71 of the Constitution, those payments do not only cover ex gratia. The statement added that the payments included salary arrears and other statutory payments which had been due as far back as 2009. It added that the payments were made in 4 tranches. The first installment paid in November 2012. It was reported last week that each MP is to be paid 200,000 Ghana cedis as ex gratia for serving in the last Parliament for 4 years. The payment of the ex gratia came on the heels of agitations by the University Teachers Association for their 10 million Ghana cedis salary arrears to be paid its members in one fell swoop before calling off its strike. Now we'll bring you a reaction of that soon. But the Vice President of the Ghana Medical Association, GMA, Dr. Soji Tete, says unlike the President, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, FWSC, and the Labour Commission are not committed to resolving the labour dispute quickly. He said though the GMA appreciates the sense of urgency the President is exhibiting to ensure the speedy resolution to the ongoing labour dispute, the association is not convinced the two organisations are as committed. Dr. Soji Tete was speaking on Joy FM 6 a.m. News Monday morning. According to Dr. Soji Tete, when they went back to the Labour Commission with these grievances, the Commission said it is not prepared to issue a new ruling. He lamented this back and forth is actually worrying. He assured that if the issues are resolved within the 7-day time frame, they will revert to an all-out strike. Now, currently, the doctors have withdrawn only outpatient services.
It is quite possible to resolve this issue within the 7 days. Remember, we have a 7-day window of opportunity where only outpatient services have been withdrawn. And if there is commitment on the part of both the Fair Wages and the National Labour Commission to enforce its own directives, then yes, it's possible to resolve this thing very quickly and get back to normalcy. In November of 2011, Labour Commission made a ruling as to how an allowance called market premium should be paid. And government has also issued a white paper as to what happens when your salary, your old salary, is higher than the single spine salary, which is the case of the doctors. A certain amount called the conversion difference has got to be paid. So the issues are not fudgy. They are very well clear-cut. But then you find out that Fair Wages is prepared to discuss some of them, not prepared to discuss others. Some doctors have seen a reduction in their patients, also because of the manner in which the Fair Wages has interpreted some of the rulings. And we have problems with these things. And we went back to Labour Commission. They said clearly that there's no need to issue a new ruling and that their old ruling of 2011 should be enforced. So this back and forth is really not helping us. So if the president says that this is an urgent matter, this is an essential service, and the issues that have been narrowed down, that have been dragging since 2011 should be resolved, we believe it's possible to resolve them. Let the Fair Wages be unambiguous in their commitment to resolving these issues.
Now, still on the matter of the doctors' strike, a statement has been issued by the Ministry of Health assuring the general public that it has provided some mitigating measures to minimize the impact of the strike action by the Ghana Medical Association GMA and the Government Hospital Pharmacists Association GOSPA. This statement has been issued in Accra. It said the ministry is in the process of providing additional medical consumables and drugs to the 37 military and the police hospitals. Emergency plans to handle all cases are being put in place, whilst an amicable solution to the current misunderstanding between the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, the Labour Commission, GOSPA and GMA is being sought. The ministry reminded the GMA that as providers of essential services, they are enjoined by Section 162 of the Labour Act to refer any problems they may have with the negotiation process to the Labour Commission if they are of the view that negotiation has broken down. The ministry therefore urged GMA and GOSPA members in the statement to rescind their decision and return to work while they continue to negotiate with the FWSC or allow the National Labour Commission to arbitrate. The statement also asked the general public to stay calm as healthcare delivery in the country would not be stalled. Now, members of the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, GOSPA, have withdrawn their services effective today in response to government's inability to address their grievances. The president of GOSPA, Stephen Kokwe, tells Joy News that they are seeking better grading on the single spine pay policy, as well as a readjustment of their market premium. Though the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has moved the entry-level grade up from 18L to 18H, GOSPA wants the increment to reflect in all the levels which the Commission has refused. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is currently in court to appeal the National Labour Commission's adoption of a new grading structure put together by the Ministry of Health. We have on the phone the president of GOSPA, Stephen Kokwe, to explain why the increment at the entry level is not enough. Hello, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, we understand that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has increased the grade at the entry level. Why aren't you happy with this?
It's because the ruling that was on the 23rd of January by the National Labour Commission takes into consideration the other grades, not apart from the entry, so that it will cascade up to the final grade. We have about a 9-grade structure. And National and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission has refused to implement the ruling. You see, the grading structure is such that once you change the entry point, there should be a cascading effect on the other grades. It's like the government have announced that the minimum wage is 4 cedis. And so anybody whose minimum wage is 2 cedis apparently will move to 4 cedis. the others who are 60s and above also have that cascading effect. That's exactly what the National Labour Commission have done. And Fair Wages and Salary Commission have decided not to implement the ruling. And it is quite disheartening and frustrating because this issue has lingered for almost 18 months. We have been battling the Fair Wages and Salary Commission on this issue. Our members are tired. They are furious because even after the migration onto the spine, because this issue was not fixed, their salaries was slashed, was lower than what they were receiving before. Some of who are supposed to receive 2,000 now receive 1,200. And it is not the best. Their working condition now has been increased. Their workload has increased. And we are talking about the fact that you are not going to implement a ruling by a state institution, which is supposed to deal with labor issues. We are not happy about the ruling because initially we have asked that the pharmacist's entry point should be moved to a level higher than what they have been given to us. But because we want to maintain industrial harmony, the members decided to unanimously agree on the ruling of the National Labour Commission. So what Fair Wages and Salary Commission is not very fair to the farmers at all. The issue about the market premium will also be mattering for the past 18 months. And it has reached National Labour Commission. They also cannot take a decision. They are sending it to the Presidency. For the past 3 weeks, we have not heard anything from them. For how long are we going to wait for these issues to be resolved finally? So from today, my members have decided that they are going to withdraw their service indefinitely until these two issues are resolved.
Commission. The National Labour Commission has directed a grievance review committee to evaluate your situation, and the review committee revealed that your grading was fair.
Yeah. So they have taken a ruling on it, and so we understand why Fair Wages and Salary Commission are not implementing the ruling.
Okay. Now, please explain the specifics of the recent ruling of the National Labour Commission. You say that Fair Wages and Salaries Commission is not following the ruling of the Commission. What exactly is the detail of it, and where has Fair Wages erred?
Well, as you said earlier on, the Fair Wages and Salary Commission has only changed the entry point from 18L to 18H. The other grades of the pharmacists have not been changed. They maintain the previous ones that is naturally that are content migrated and on. And that is what Fair Wages and Salary the National Labour Commission has come out to say that the other grades such as this is the levels you have to place according to the entry points of the pharmacy. And this is what Fair Wages and Salary Commission decided that they are not going to implement it.
All right. What would make you go back to dispensing drugs? Are you looking for a particular piece of evidence that they are committed to the cause?
We want a clear and definite solution to the implementation of the grade structure. And then the market freedom, which the National Labour Commission, they said they were overwhelmed, and they have sent it to the President. And we want a clear or fair market freedom that would restore the relativity in the public sector between the pharmacists and the other health professionals.
All right. Well, we'll be looking out for that as well because we're eager to have you back at work. Thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Stephen Kokwe, President of GOSPA. Now moving into court, petitioners in the Supreme Court case challenging the results of the 2012 presidential elections have satisfied the Supreme Court order to file affidavits of witness evidence, which they intend to use to prove their case that Nana Akufo-Addo of the New Patriotic Party won the December 7 and 8 presidential elections. The filing of the affidavit evidence means respondents in the case have up to Friday, 12th April, to file their respective affidavits as well, for hearing to begin on Tuesday, 16th April. Reports say over 400,000 documents are expected to be filed, with 15 copies of each supplied to all parties in the suit, plus the 9 justices on the panel. The main affidavit is said to contain 83 paragraphs, which spells out the case for the petitioners, supported by boxes of documentary evidence from polling stations. Let's go live to the Ridge Hospital so that my colleague Etonam can give us an update on the situation there concerning the doctors' strike. Hello, Etonam. Things keep going funny when we keep going live, but we will keep on doing it. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, we'll have more news. The headmaster of the Northern School of Business Senior High School in Tamale in the Northern Region, Shaibu Wilberforce Adams, says he will not tolerate any form of indiscipline under his watch as the headmaster of the school. The headmaster of the school was speaking to Joy News after a screening exercise of 979 final year students of the school for readmission into the school.
979 final year students of the school were suspended last week for misconduct. School authorities said some female students scaled walls of the school and sneaked into town at night with their boyfriends. Others were also accused of littering the dining hall with food served them. Shaibu Wilberforce Adams said the screening is to ensure that they are able to put students into orderly houses to be able to monitor their activities.
Indisciplined attitude of the students, a lot of it went on, and we thought fit to get things in order. And much of it came from the fact that even they had brought into the boarding house illegal occupants. And so there was virtually, let me call it, a sort of mayhem, looting, indiscipline, infidelity, call it anything. And we thought that let's take an immediate decision so that before the exams we could do this, rather than within the period of the exams redoing it. So on Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we asked all students to perform and come back today, as you have rightly said. They are back, and they are back here for us to screen them. And we are screening them, putting them into orderly houses.
Acts of indiscipline has increased so much in the school that in the last 3 months, series of theft have been reported to the police by school authorities.
In the last 1 week, we have experienced 3 serious thefts. These officially, I would say, have been reported to us. One of our students went to town and stole a laptop and a digital camera. He was caught, sent to the police station and granted bail. 2, a girl went somewhere, stole, and was hooted. She was dragged into the school and hooted her, and that item seized from her. Our girls' dormitory, we barred the materials of those students who were leaving for home earlier in one room. They have broken into that room. We don't know what they have taken. If you go, they have vandalized it. Whether they have stolen or not, we don't know. They have done it. Thirdly, go to our fence. A fence wall that we are struggling to build. Go and see, they have borrowed holes on it so as to make it easier for them to climb to the top. Even last time, at one point in the northern part, they pushed the hole just to escape. The day we asked them to go home, people were scaling our school.
The students were made to sign a bond of good behavior before they were readmitted.
The Ghana Young Artisans Movement, in partnership with Ghana Youth and Entrepreneurial Development Agency (GYDA), has graduated 300 youth in hairdressing and dressmaking in Tamale in the Northern Region. The graduation of the 300 hairdressers and dressmakers was witnessed by the Tamale Dakpema, Muhammad Dawuni, and brought together tailoring and dressmaking apprentices of Tamale. Ghana's Young Artisan Movement is a non-governmental organization supporting unemployed youth with employable skills, training in technical and vocational skills development in the Northern Region. It entered into an agreement with Ghana Youth and Entrepreneurial Development Agency, GYDA, in 2009 to train and equip interested youth in various communities in the Tamale metropolis with self-supportive skills in 3 years. The first batch of 320 beneficiaries graduated in 2011 and were supported with startup working tools to set up their own income-generating ventures. A total of 650 youth have since then been trained and equipped for the past 2.5 years. Executive Director of the organization, Abdul Fattah Ibrahim, said the organization has constructed water and sanitation facilities for some rural communities and public institutions.
What we are witnessing today is the result of collaborating well between JAM and GYDA, formerly known as the National Youth and Employment Program. Through a series of discussions, our two partners have sought to deal with youth unemployment by equipping these youth with skills for self-employment. About 320 youth have since been graduated and equipped with self-supporting skills in 2011 to 2012 to date, and were supported with working tools to set up self-businesses with the skills learned.
Northern Regional Coordinator of the Ghana Youth and Entrepreneurial Development Agency, GYDA, Alhaji Mohammed Amin Abiu, said government was committed to eliminating youth unemployment in the country. Graduates were presented with working tools to set up their own ventures. Now, once we're up north, we might as well stay there. The Northern Regional Minister, Midday, has made a passionate appeal to traditional leaders in the region to support government in its efforts to maintain peace to facilitate rapid development in the area. Midday made the appeal when he led a delegation from the Northern Regional Coordinating Council to pay a working visit to the overlord of the Mamprugu traditional area, Na Bohan Mahami Abdullahi Sheriga.
The visit was part of the minister's activities to formally introduce himself to the traditional chiefs as the government appointee to the region.
Let us continue to maintain peace in order for us to benefit from development. Anytime that we have situations of insecurity, what it means is that we are losing the opportunity to have development. And so I will urge that whatever the situation, let us use dialogue and mediation to resolve our differences.
He said the vision of the government to partner local people and chiefs to accelerate economic transformation to improve the livelihood of the region could not be successful if the volatile ethnic clashes did not cease.
The President's vision is one of accelerating the transformation of the economy of this country. Out of this transformation, that we can have the jobs which will be available for the teeming youth. It is out of this transformation that we can have the other social amenities. It is out of this transformation that we can have the expansion of infrastructure and, for that matter, to improve upon the well-being of the people of this region and the country as a whole.
President called on the chiefs to support the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority in its quest to introduce initiatives in the areas of agriculture, industry, environment and building of roads to improve the welfare of the people. Na Bohan Sheriga welcomed the minister and his entourage, but expressed worry about the recent renewed clashes in the area and promised to continue to dialogue with all parties involved to ensure that peace return to the area. He said they are ever ready to team up with the government and other development partners to make the area the best place to live.
We're now going back to my colleague Eton Amse, who is at the Ridge Hospital. She's going to tell us what the situation there is like. We'll be speaking to her on phone. Hello, Etonam.
Hello, Jennifer.
Etonam, what's happening at Ridge Hospital?
Currently, I'm at the OPD, the outpatient department here at the Ridge Hospital, and the OPD is virtually empty. The only people you see there are people who are waiting to take their lab results. The nurses tell me people who came earlier to see the doctors have all been turned away because there's no single doctor to attend to patients. What they say is that according to the directive from the Ghana Medical Association, the only patients you're seeing are people already on admission and emergency cases, and this is going to continue until the 14th of April. And the 15th of April, if they don't hear anything positive from government, they will completely lay down their tools and they will not attend to any patients. And so I also spoke to the lady in charge at the OPD. Her name is Madam Alesopoku, who confirmed to me that the nurses cannot do without the doctors, because at the end of the day, when they attend to patients, they have to be referred to doctors. And as it stands, all they do is attend to patients, and they have to tell them to go home and wait for the doctors to come back before they can attend to them. Earlier, I was at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and there the OPD was packed with patients, but there was no single doctor to attend to patients. The doctors declined speaking with us, and they said they were on strike and they were not going to speak with any media house.
All right, Etunam, you mentioned that the nurses were telling the patients to go home. Aren't they referring them to the 37 military hospital or the police hospital?
They are not referring anybody to any other hospital. I don't know whether because most hospitals, most doctors are on strike. They are not referring them. They are just telling them to go home. So you see the OPD here at the Range Hospital is virtually empty. There is no single patient. You find a few loitering about. I spoke to a 71-year-old woman earlier, and she said she's been waiting outside because she came at 8 a.m. She was told there's no doctor, no one will attend to her, and she just doesn't have anywhere else to go. So she's still waiting, hoping that the doctors will change their mind. So they are not referring them to any hospital. They are just asking them to go home and wait for the doctors resume duty, and then they'll be attended to.
All right, what about emergency cases and patients who are already on the ward?
They are attending to them. Patients already on admission and emergency cases are being looked at. Doctors are attending to cases by them, because according to their reports, that was what they said in their directive, that they were going to attend to emergency cases and patients already on admission until the 14th of April, after which they will look at what government is saying about their salary issues. And then by 15th April, if they don't hear from government, they will completely lay down their tools. So with emergency cases and patients already on admission, doctors are attending to them. But new cases, they are sending all of them away.
All right, now let's talk about Gospel. They are also on strike today. Did you find any pharmacists at posts at the hospitals you visited?
Can you repeat that? I didn't get you.
I was asking if you found any pharmacists at posts when you visited the hospitals.
No pharmacists. I think that I should have asked that. Patients who have been asked to go for medication are also going to private pharmacy shops to get their medication. There is no pharmacist here at the Range Hospital giving out medication. Both pregnant women and those who have to go and get their medication here at the Range Hospital have all been turned away. The pharmacy shop is also closed. Nobody is being given any medication here. So currently, doctors are on strike, pharmacists are also on strike here at the Range Hospital.
Okay, and my final question, the patients who came today, is it that they did not know the strike was taking effect today, or they came in hope that the doctors and pharmacists would take mercy on them?
Well, I met actually an empty OPD when I got here. I only saw 3 patients. According to them, they were not aware doctors were on strike. The OPD was virtually empty because the nurses said they had to send them away when they came after attending to them. Usually after attending to them, they would have to refer them to the doctors. The doctors were not at, and so all they had to do was to send them away. And so I only met 3 who were waiting, hoping that doctors would change their minds, who told me that they were not aware doctors were on strike. And so they came because they were supposed to see doctors today. They were billed on their form to see the doctors today. They got here and doctors were not at school.
All right, thank you very much. That was my colleague Etonam Say reporting from the Ridge Hospital in Accra. She said she had also been to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital and discovered that there are no doctors and no pharmacists at post at the moment. However, patients who are already on admission and come with emergency cases are being seen to. We'll keep you updated with those strikes. But we're moving on to a group of people who are actually satisfied with things in their line of work. Officials of Amtrak Air say they are satisfied with the state of the Wa airstrip for them to start domestic air commercial operations there. We have Rafiq Salam's report from Wa.
Managing Director of Amtrak Air, Conrad Clifford, led the Amtrak team to inspect the state of the Wa airstrip. The purpose of the tour was for management of the domestic airline to ascertain the state of the airstrip to enable them begin commercial flight services from Accra to Wa and back. The municipal chief executive for Wa, Dugo Yakubu, took the team round.
People come from Burkina Faso and other neighboring countries to pass to Tamale and fly to Accra. This is shorter. They could be here, take a flight here and go. People could come from other parts here and move. So this place is opening up once your business commences here.
If things go as planned, officials of Amtrak Air say they will begin commercial flight services from Accra to Wa and back in May.
Okay, so let's go to the Brong-Ahafo region now, where most congregations of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana in the Techiman district were not opened for Sunday morning service yesterday. The congregants refused to allow the various chapels to open in protest against the transfer of 9 catechis of the church by the Techiman district minister, Reverend Seth Eja Apia. The congregants argue that Reverend Seth Eja Apia took the decision without consulting the local council of the church. This is Kafui Ajoma's report.
All the 9 affected congregations, including Techiman Central, Hansua, Diasempa, New Onyinase, Wiaso, Kenten, Bamiri, Chiabodom Emmanuel and Ebenezer were closed when the news crew visited the church at about 9 a.m. Sunday morning. These inscriptions on the various walls demanding the retention of the outgoing catechists were captured by our cameras. Children who were supposed to be studying the Word of God were also playing outside. Members of the Techiman Trinity Presbyterian Church, however, attacked the news crew and seized the camera. Upon hours of negotiations, the camera was released with the surety of not filing the report. He was threatened to be traced and beaten up if the report is aired on any of the multimedia platforms. Our correspondent, however, managed to speak with one of the members of Diasempa congregation under anonymity.
Papa, we tell my school them we are na mission. Yes, ya Sunday we or some water or what the hill piano here. Now I see a Sunday we na be say you had ya. Ya so the man na yent ase. Say be you can't kiss free ha. Ni a Sunday here betum. Ya ma so the Presbyterian so na e benya go dia sempa house eh. Ya had dia sempa ha e beku.
Meanwhile, Joy News intercepted a copy of the letter which was addressed to the affected 9 catechists of the church by Reverend Seth Eja Apia. The letter stated that due to some unforeseen circumstances beyond control and in line with the convention of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana and in consultation with the higher authority of the Presbytery, the following changes have been made in the designation of some agent in the district effective May 1st, 2013. Reverend Seth Eja Apia was unavailable to comment on the issue at the time of filing this report. Nesta Kafui Ajuma's report.
I'm not going to comment on that story, except to say I'm not going to comment on it. There is something I would like to comment on, however. Margaret Thatcher, former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, passed away. So we talk about hypertension, which is commonly referred to as high blood pressure in our wellness today. High blood pressure or hypertension has been the cause of many unexpected deaths. Reports suggest that nearly 1 billion people across the world are living with hypertension but are completely oblivious of that fact. This is why health experts recommend frequent checkups, which provide the knowledge of one's health condition for better management. But here's the question: how often do Ghanaians go for checkups? Joy News has been finding that out.
From cancer, HIV to hepatitis B, we hear of strange diseases affecting mankind every day. The usual advice health experts give is regular checkups to determine diseases in their early stages and treat them before they get out of hand. With all the health advice, some folks admit they do not go for checkups.
Every day I'm strong, so I don't go checkup.
I've not been sick before. I don't even go for checkup because I've been doing exercise. I don't eat at late. I take my regular meals. I'm okay with that.
Equally, it seems some people, at least, are imbibing the culture of checking out their health status regularly, with particular attention to their BP.
Once in 2 months, I just go there to check my health because it's very important. As a human being, you need to go for checkup to check the condition of the whole body.
I go every 1 month, but now I check my BP. Now I see I went to an idea no I am check it.
Me call really bad. I'm do condition. No more year BP santi me call check it. Na me name say me BP kura ko high. Nti me call check it na me hu say ko high nti me sha say ko hu ko hospital. Na no mo check ma me e de me cho duro so ma ko na fe de me hu say me BP aba normal nti me hu say ye pa say we hu say BP sa we so ko na ko hwe say na wa hu odi mu siti.
Me I best 1 month and 2 months be a me ko hese ma pomo de ti say me BP na me ta check me BP so na mo check me sugar system and so mo check mame a na ne enko ye no mo ka che me say bia e say no e bia udi sugar dodo na say udi nchine dodo na say udi meko dodo abre na say na mo cheche me ne me nimu no na mo akire me ti me ba fia na ma start na me ye.
Hypertension is associated with cardiovascular diseases and stroke, with the two constituting the world's #1 cause of premature death and disability. Experts explain how frequent we must check our health status.
As an adult, if you are not hypertensive, you should check almost every month. And if you are hypertensive and you are on medication, some people check every day, because you have to check every day. And even if you are on medication and it's going up, you see your doctor to give you the right mix of medications. It's very prevalent above let's say, once you get into your 20s, you should start checking.
It's a simple thing. You just walk into any of the community pharmacy that they have, or you can walk to any public health institution or a private institution and then check your blood pressure. Once you do that, you know that your blood pressure is being controlled. Avoid drinking excessively. Avoid smoking entirely. Watch your diet. Excessive salt intake, and then coffee intake. And then you also eat low-fat food.
Frequent checkups, health experts say, can prevent several related diseases and also allow early treatment or management of these diseases.
Former Prime Minister Baroness Thatcher has died peacefully at the age of 87 after suffering a stroke. Her family has announced this. Her successor, David Cameron, called her a Great Briton, and the Queen spoke of her sadness at the death. Lady Thatcher was a Conservative Prime Minister from... True, being loved by a special lady makes it all so special. Unfortunately, I don't have any more news for you right now, so I have to go. But coming up at 2 p.m., we do have more news for you. Let's take a quick look at our headlines as we wrap up our midday brief. The labour unrest continues. Doctors are striking, government pharmacists are striking, and UTAG is still striking. We brought you updates on those situations. We also went to the Ridge Hospital and got a report. Indeed, there is nobody at post. And the chalk factory has been out of production for 4 months now. We brought you wellness and briefs and business. My name is Jennifer Jane Asante. We will bring you more news at 2 p.m. Have a good one.